And I know that like a lot of guys actually posted and messaged this week about, are we having a meeting? So I have a feeling that we'll have several people show up. Let's see. We're almost there. There we are. It's live. So let me do a quick spiel. Hi, everybody. It's David Dorian Ross, founder of the Virtual Pipe Club. This is the live streaming of the weekly Virtual Pipe Club meeting. Today, I am merely a figment of your imagination. I am not really here. Instead, today's meeting will be hosted by Black Bart, the infamous, the most wanted man, the sexiest blacksmith in Holland. So Bart's gonna run.
I'm glad I got this recorded.
It's recorded. Yeah. So you heard it here first. For those people who are watching over there on YouTube, if you want to pop into the meeting, it's really simple. All you have to do is go to Facebook, because I think on all of the Pipe Club pages, you'll find a link, and you just hop into Zoom, and you're there. That's all it takes. I don't even know what the topic of the day is today. I think it. Bart, what do you got planned?
Well, I've got some general questions. First, we'll do the show your pipe and tobacco stuff as we always do, but I also want to talk a little bit on how people got into smoking, what else they smoke, because I know Dimitri and I both are cigar smokers, and how smoking fits into our lifestyle and why we do it, and how we choose what we smoke. Like kind of like getting the essence to see what does it bring to each member.
I'm going to see if anybody's going to be honest enough to say, I smoke because none of my rest of my family will be around me when I smoke, so that's how I get private time. All right. That was a joke, by the way. If my wife is watching, I'm just kidding, sweetheart. That's not what I mean at all. So let's see, Bart, I'm going to make you the host. Yes.
Yep, I got it.
You're in control. I just want to say happy 4th of July to everybody, because
happy 4th of July.
It is 4th of July, even when you're in another country. It just doesn't mean the same thing. So, but for everybody around the world, have a wonderful, beautiful day, and I'll see you guys next week.
See you next week, DDR. Okay, so I think it's just us now.
So
and,
what are?
Go on.
Oh, I just wanted to know real quick, what is everyone drinking right now? Because it's, or some in the U.S. for 4th of July.
Good question.
Well, I'm drinking this beautiful 12 years old rum from Guyana and smoking Cuban cigar. Finish it.
Dimitri knows how to celebrate.
Yeah, finishing it in the pipe because it's too small to hold, but it still tastes great. It doesn't lose its balance all the way to the end. That's Hiroshi Robina cigar from Robina Family Farm, rolled by Hiroshi himself.
I spent too much money. I spent too much money on pipe tobacco this month, so I'm going to crappy Bud Light.
And the problem with cigars in general, especially if you smoke the stuff that Dimitri is smoking, it is expensive. Like the cigar he's smoking is probably like 10 or 12 bucks at least.
No, actually, this one is a little more. Well, actually, in the United States, in New York, to get quality cigar, you can spend like between $10 and $15 for good cigar, and that's considered very cheap. Actually, there are some great cigars you can get under $10, but there are very few of those. And there are some cigars which go for like $30 or even more, like Padron, usually like $25, $30. Yeah, this
Yeah.
one was like 25, and it's totally worth it.
I actually smoked Partagas D6 yesterday. I heard you talking about Partagas, and
Yeah, I
I
love
always
Partagas.
really enjoyed it. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
actually,
very well. They're quite strong, but they're really good.
earlier today, my friend Hamlet Paredes, he's from Cuba, started as a cigar roller when he was 18 years old. Now he works for Rocky Patel. Rocky Patel Cigars is largest cigar company in the United States. So he posted his picture smoking Partagas Chico. That's a little cigar with a plastic tip, Partagas. That was his very first cigar, and it was also my very first cigar.
Nice. So I think we actually have new people in. I'm seeing faces that I haven't seen before. Maybe for the people that are here for the first time, quickly introduce yourselves. Tell us what you're smoking and what you're smoking it out of.
I see Patrick is here. Hi, Patrick.
Hey, Dimitri. By the way, yes, it's Patrick Grant. I'm here at my backyard in Brooklyn. I'm going to be smoking Moore mixture out of a carved meerschaum pipe. I'll hold it up here. It's a carved Viking pipe. So that's what I'll be smoking for right now. And I'll be also accompanying that with Knob Creek single barrel bourbon, which is at 120 proof.
Nice. I like the bourbon edition.
Wow,
That's good stuff.
120 proof.
Oh yeah, and that's not even their top of the line. The top of their line bourbon, which is the Booker's bourbon, that proofs out anywhere from 121. The highest I've seen is 128.5 proof.
Oh my lord, that's more than Everclear.
Man, that's rocket fuel.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you like rum, if you like strong rum, try All Granddad 114 proof, but it's amazingly smooth and delicious and very inexpensive.
And Dimitri, how about that Jamaican overproof white rum that's at 136?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Well, today I'm drinking rum. Today I'm drinking Guyanese rum.
Oh, nice.
Eldorado,
Nice.
12 years old.
Nice.
The white overproofs you're talking about are probably something like WP502, like a Worley Park rum. They make them at incredibly high proofs. I think the highest one I've had from them was 144. I think was the highest I've had. And you could actually drink this straight, which is most people won't believe you, but you can drink this straight without dying instantly of.
The strongest rum I ever had was 151 proof, 75.5% alcohol, Cruzan 151, and I had it straight, and it tastes really good.
And we're talking about high proof rums. There's one I've heard of that comes out of the island of St. Vincent. It's so high proof you cannot be imported into the States. It proofs out at 161.
Yeah, in the United States, it's illegal to sell any alcoholic beverages higher than 151 proof.
To be honest, that does make at least a little sense. I mean, even though I really do appreciate my overproof drinks, I think from like the 40 bottles of strong liquor I have in my house, I think like 2 are at 40% or 80 proof, and the rest is all over. But I mean, some of them are like 90 or something like that. It's not crazy. Not all of it. It's crazy at least. So Patrick, thanks for introducing yourself. Do we have any new faces today? Any other new faces today, I should say.
Well, this is my second meeting. I was here last week. I'm just smoking a cheap Morgan Bones pipe. Some Sutliff Voodoo Queen I've had sitting around since 2018. It's a little bit dry. Don't think I had the lid on very tight, so not sure what I'm going to do with it at this moment.
You could put it in a Ziploc with a bit of moisture in it, like one of these stones, something like that. Should be okay. But I like the
Yeah.
fact you're smoking your bones. I love my bones. I have two of my own. I'll quickly show you. Because I think you've got a hanging apple or a bent apple. Yeah, bent apple. That's what
Yeah.
it looks like.
It's a big one.
It is. I've got the hanging Brady's or brandies, which are the small ones, and then a stubby pot. Don't know if you can see that. They are really, really nice. I truly appreciate what Morgan Bones does for the money. I mean, I've had some good contact with Chris because I knew he was starting his blacksmith shop, and I actually made him a hammer, like one of these styles hammers I made for him as a gift. I gave it to him for free, and in return he sent me a pipe, and it was the second Bones I owned, and it's my favorite pipe so far.
Very nice. He makes some pretty good beef jerky these days too.
know.
Here's a lightning finish poker from Chris, and then I've
Really
got
nice.
I got this love it, and then let's see.
Nice.
I've also got this little bent apple.
Yeah.
Love them all.
So you are definitely like me a Bones fan.
So I've heard really, really great things about his pipes. In fact, I've heard nothing negative. What makes them so enjoyable?
For me, go on. You first.
I don't know. They're just a very, very nice smoking pipe, and I love how it's unfinished, so it'll color up quite nicely, just like a Meerschaum will, and can't beat the price.
Mhm.
I think that's what makes it magical. Like the quality you're getting for the price. Like Chris buys basically pipes that have been deemed not high enough quality for other manufacturers, and then he sandblasts them and makes his own out of them. And this means that some of these pipes have cracks and stuff like that. I can actually show you this on my hanging Brady. It has on my hanging Brandy. It's like a huge crack in it.
Mhm.
I don't know if I can show you that. Can you see that on camera?
Yeah, I can
It's
see
like
it.
a crack near the shank.
Yep.
And actually, in smoking it doesn't matter at all. Like you won't notice that it's there, and that's why they're so cheap, basically. And I think what makes them great is the fact that they smoke very consistent. I mean, I own several Bones, and all of them seem to have like the same draw, the same smoking characteristics. Even if you vary between shapes, it's really, really consistent. And I think that's what I appreciate. When I put down like $50 for a Bones, I know I'm getting a pipe that I like. And I think that's why so many people got so many different kinds of Bones.
Yeah, you know, it's making me want to get one at some point. I mean, sometimes you see different pipes and people have different opinions about pipes, about certain manufacturers. They have pros and cons. I've really seen all good things about Chris Morgan's pipes, and I mean, for the price, I can't beat it. I mean, really. Probably wind up getting one at some point.
Keep an eye on this and tell me when they come on, if they come on.
Well, today I have 3 pipes with me. I have all of them in the same shape, Ben Bulldog. This is Mastro de Paia, Italian. Then I have this, and that's Japanese pipe. That's Tsuge, 3-point Tsuge. And this is probably my favorite pipe out of all that I have. That's Savinelli. It was sold unfinished because it has some defects in the wood. You can see right here. It was filled with paste, so it was sold unfinished, but it smokes so well. And you can witness historic moment. I'm going to pop open this tin of McClelland Frog Morton.
Lucky you, Dimitri.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you need to get rid of that, I'll be glad to give you my address.
Smells amazing.
I just got 2 tins of frog. One is 17-year-old on the town, and the other is a 9-year-old on the bayou.
Nice.
So, as I was saying, do we have any other new faces? Because I do see some names that I haven't seen before.
Yeah, I could introduce myself.
Please.
I'm Ib from Denmark, Europe, and I've been attending a few meetings, but I've had trouble with both my sound and my video. But I think it's all sorted now. So at the
I
moment,
think you run a shop,
yeah, I do.
so it would seem.
Yeah. I'm smoking an old Tom Eltang pipe at the moment, and it's fueled with Nordic golden sliced tobacco. I got a lot of it tax-free recently, so that's my choice at the moment. But mainly I smoke Virginia Flakes. That's what I like the most.
I know that Tom really likes that as well, like the Orla Golden Flake. I know he smokes that a lot,
Yeah.
or he used to at least.
Yeah.
So do we know your shop? I mean, can you tell us a bit about it?
About?
This is your shop. This is your moment to do a shameless plug and make some promotion for yourself.
No. I don't own a shop. I'm on the board of the Nordic Smokers Guild, which is a pipe club for the Nordic countries, Denmark and Sweden and Norway mainly, and we host the Danish Championship in pipe smoking, which we has done for more than 40 years now, and we do a quarterly magazine called Pipes and Tobacco. Here's one of the issues with featuring Former. I guess you know him, all of you. So, and I'm the editor of this magazine. I've been writing for it since the 80s or 90s, something like that, and I've been the editor for 10 years or something like that. So that's about it.
But the pipes behind you, is that private collection?
Yeah, it is. That's
Holy
just
shit, man.
just a few of my pipes. Yeah.
It's why I thought you ran a shop. You have
Yeah,
like
no.
display cabinets with a million pipes in it.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I don't know how many, but I stopped counting when I reached 1,000. But so there's
Well, I'm
quite a few.
happy we are recording this, because now when somebody's wife complains that they have too much pipes, they can point at you and say it's not that bad, love.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks for introducing yourself. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Anyone else? Like I said, I do see some
I'd like
faces,
to
I think.
I'd like to ask Ib a question. Ib, is there, of all the pipes you have, do you have any brands or makers that you like more than others?
Well, that's a good question.
That's a tough one, I know.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Well, let me put it like this. The majority of my collection are Stanwells. Probably 40% of them are Stanwells, and a very large percentage are from Danish pipe makers. So that's mainly what I smoke, but I have a lot of British and Italian pipes, and yeah, from all over the world. So.
Well, you cannot go wrong with the Danish pipe.
No, that's for sure.
Okay. Well, let me quickly jump in and say something too, because I've got a pipe, a new one, which I'm gonna try and show you. And it's this beautiful thing. And I think it has a really nice grain to it. Add a bit more light on this. There's really nice grain on it. And it was handmade by one of our members. And he gave it to me in a virtual pipe club trade. So I'd like to thank Derek Stevens for this pipe. I got it today, And we went to pick it up at the post office this afternoon. He's not here, unfortunately, so I can't thank him in person. But it's brilliant. It looks amazing, and I'm very proud to own it. So thanks a million. I hope you see this, and of course I will send you some messages and pictures, but here's my homage to you for making me this pipe. I really, really appreciate the artistry and the work you put into this thing. It's amazing. I love it. Thanks, man.
Speaking of Danish pipes, I just got a new one myself this week. I generally like the Danish classics from Stanwell, but I just got my first Prebin home freehand, and it's really nice. We're guessing it was made sometime in the late 70s or the early 80s.
Yeah, probably 70s.
It's a really nice shape.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with Danish pipes, but you can't really go wrong with them. I mean, I know that most of the people who just own like a basic Altang or something like that instantly fall in love with it. So must be a reason why the Scandinavian countries get this so right.
This is one of my Stanwells, a nice stack with a registration number from the 48 to the 60s.
It's a nice shape. It's very tall.
And I really
Very
like
nice.
this Stanwell Apple from 1988.
That's a
Really
that's a nice
beautiful.
one. My good friend Benna made the model. Yeah, so really good.
This is a near up, which another Danish pipe. You know, I have about 5, and I find them to be a really nice pipe for a very low cost, and does a lot of decorations on his pipes with his stems and rings and things. And yeah, it's a great pipe for not a lot of money at all. Once again, I agree. Danish pipes, you can't go wrong.
And here's another good Dane. Speaking of near up,
There we go.
nice little acorn.
Yeah, so there you go with the I was mentioning the stem work and the rings and silver work.
Yep.
And John, I bet that
really
didn't cost
nice.
more than $1.20.
This was actually one of his select pipes, I guess, and it was a little bit more. It was like 175. I
Oh, all right,
think.
okay.
Okay, so before I start asking questions myself to get this conversation going, I'm kind of curious if you guys have questions to ask each other, because usually we have a speaker or we have a topic and we kind of try and stay on track with that. But since we're with quite a few people, obviously being the 4th of July, I think we could have some really interesting discussions about certain topics, and I don't want them to be too general. So if anybody has any questions or things of interest they'd like to discuss, please feel free, because I think this would be an excellent time to just see what the group does when we don't moderate it. Let's put it like that. All the quiet suggests that I am on the wrong end of this this assumption. So I'll get to the topic that I was talking about earlier. I'm really interested in how people got into pipe smoking, because I don't think it's something you just pick up from one day on another. There's like, you need to have a certain attraction to it, and I'm kind of wondering how you guys got into pipe smoking.
I guess I'll start. I just grew around my dad smoking a pipe most of my childhood, and I really didn't. I picked it up really late. It's only been a couple years that I've been smoking, and just always loved the smell of a good pipe, and here I am.
Do you know what your dad smoked?
No. I think he had some Dr. Grabos, and so I didn't even remember the type of tobacco. I know he liked a lot of cherry, and so I've got a couple aromatics from Boswell's here in the U.S. that have a good amount of cherry in them. So I like those. Those are pretty much my only aromatics, and I smoke a lot of burley. I like Virginia and Perique. I like Black Cavendish.
Nice. So yeah, and I just saw somebody in the comments saying the same, like seeing my father and my uncle smoke. Are there any other people that would like to pitch in this conversation?
Yeah,
Tell us how they started smoking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I probably started when I was like 14, but I remember I had a next door neighbor. His name was Herman, and he always had a pipe in his mouth. Even at the age of 8, I was just fascinated with the whole thing. And, I think it was a Dr. Graybo, and he smoked Prince Albert, and I just always had an interest in it. And then I remember one day, I was 14, I was up in my attic. I found an old, unused yellow bowl pipe, and I said, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. And I went and bought some, at that time, Apple tobacco, and tried lighting it up. And, I got with my friend. We couldn't get the thing going, because we were out in a windstorm. But, eventually I got the pipe going, and I kind of just liked the whole aspect of the pipe the whole way. And, that was at 14. I smoked for a while, and then high school, I kind of stopped and picked it up again in college, and pretty much been going ever since.
Nice. And what was the first? You said he smoked a Dr. Graybo, right? What was the first pipe you bought, like to get going?
Well, I found the yellow bowl, but then my brother gave me. He knew I was into pipes when I was about maybe 17 or so, and for a birthday present, he bought me this ROP cherry wood pipe. And I remember my friends and I would smoke these cheap pipes, and and I remember like the Balkan Sobrani story. I'll tell you that. I remember one time we would smoke things like Borkum Riff and Sale and those kinds of things. And I remember one day I went into this like news store, and they had a can of Balkan Sobrani black that I never had seen before, and it was $1.50 at the time. My friends thought I was all snooty and whatnot, and crazy for spending $1.50 on tobacco. But I was smoking that consistently and loved it. And I said, wow, this is just so different than anything else I had smoked. It was a really, real tobacco flavor, and I just enjoyed it so much. And, funny thing, if I only had could see ahead 40 years, I would have bought as much Balkan Sobrani Black as I could have, and stashed it away in a safe and, brought it out now. But I mean, yeah, I kind of started like everyone else with, an inexpensive pipe and, tobacco off the shelf.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. A few months ago, just before the pandemic, at one of our pipe club meetings, Gordon Wigg, member of our pipe club, also founder of the United Pipe Clubs of America and former president of New York Pipe Club, he brought a pouch of old Balkan Sobrani. It's amazing. Well, new Balkan Sobrani is a very decent tobacco, but old one is full of flavor with more latake. It's a little heavier, but overall flavor is amazing.
One of the things when I was about shortly after finding the Balkan Sobrani, we went to a rock concert down at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. I remember I was walking around with this cherrywood pipe smoking Balkan Sobrani, and there were drugs all over the place. I mean, everybody was getting high, and people were coming up to me like left and right saying, what are you smoking in there? They probably thought it was some sort of really unusual weed. I guess I disappointed them by telling them it was pipe tobacco, but I mean, obviously with the latakia and the smells, people are going to be attracted to that because they're probably not used to getting that smell from pipes. But it was kind of a fun experience. And I remember smoking the pipe during the whole concert when you could do that. So I saw my favorite rock band smoking some good tobacco. It was pretty awesome.
That is good. I mean, it, it creates a special memory. Let's put it like that. And I think that that also plays into how we get into pipes and why we smoke them in general. You know, it's these moments that kind of engrave yourself themselves in your brain, where something special happens. And sometimes needs to be a combination of ingredients, and I can really see a pipe fitting into that. So I imagine you treasure that memory.
Oh, it's a great memory. That's a memory from over, I mean, over 40 years ago.
Nice. So anybody else want to pitch in and how they started smoking, like how they
Yeah.
decided to smoke a pipe, what they got?
Well, I got into pipe smoking about 25 years ago. My landlady had some old pipe. She gave it to me. I started smoking it. I was enjoying it, but back then I had no idea what I was doing, and I was abusing that pipe, wasn't giving it a rest, so it finally burned out. I had to throw it out. But I bought few more pipes. First pipe that I actually
What one?
bought was
What one did you buy, Dimitri? What was your
Yeah.
first pipe?
first pipe that I bought was Joby, French-made Joby straight billiard. I still have it. And now I have over 100 different pipes. And at first I was trying all kind of tobaccos, was smoking a lot of aromatics. But then I decided aromatics are not for me, and now I'm strictly non-aromatic smoker. My first introduction to quality English tobacco was Berkeley Rex Vincent blend. It's classic, very simple English, but it's really pleasant, and I still smoke it once in a while. Well, and later I actually got into tobacco blending as well.
Nice. And the blending, do you do that for yourself? I know you had your hand in several commercial blends, right?
Well, one of my blends was sold as limited edition Nat Sherman 85th anniversary. That was before the new FDA regulations, when tobacco shops were actually allowed to make their own blend. So Chris McGrath, who was working at Nat Sherman at that time, and I made it together. I came up with an idea, and we blended it together, and it happened to be a really good blend. Mr. Sherman, Joel Sherman, who was at that time president and CEO of Nat Sherman, liked the tobacco, and they decided to sell it as 85th anniversary blend. And otherwise, I just blended for myself, for members of New York Pipe Clubs, and some members of Philadelphia Pipe Club smoke my tobaccos.
And how do I mean? I'm quite new to smoking, so how do you pick how you make a blend? You know, where do you decide what you take in which proportions? Is that just experience, or is there like a rule set to this?
First, before I make blend, I smoke each tobacco which goes into the blend separately, just to understand better what it will contribute to overall flavor of the blend. Then I usually make few different versions with those tobaccos in different proportions. Well, at first I come up with an idea what kind of taste, what kind of flavor I'm going for. That's pretty easy to accomplish, but difficult thing is to balance the blend. Make sure they in the right proportions, and one tobacco doesn't overpower the other, and they all go together well. And sometimes I get it right on a first or second try. Sometimes it takes months to get it right. Well, but basically the best way to do it, just to try different things, just to think of what you want from your blend, what kind of flavors you're looking for. And you need to try blending components separately just to understand what they will bring to the blend. And you have to balance not only flavor, but also the burn of the tobacco. You have to understand that like Virginia or Oriental tobaccos, they burn faster and hotter. something like Tariq or Latakia burn slowly and they will cool down the blend. So if it burns too hot, you may consider adding some Latakia just to cool it down and things like that.
Where do you get your raw tobaccos? Do you use commercially available tobacco, or do you have a special source where you buy in bulk?
Well, I use commercially available tobaccos. Most of my blends made using Cornell and Deal blending tobaccos. They have high quality blending tobaccos. I use some Lane tobaccos, use some McClellan tobaccos. I have over 6 pounds of McClellan 5120 Fragrant Virginia, which is in a few of my blends. And I have few blends which I made from whole leaf, and I get it from a company called Leaf Only. They're based in Connecticut, and they sell whole leaf tobacco. Well, the only thing I add to the tobacco, I spray them with a 0.5% solution of calcium propionate, which is food grade antifungal. They use it in baking goods, in bread, and so on. So it's food grade, so it's totally safe, absolutely non-toxic, and when it burns, it doesn't produce any toxic products either. And it prevents from mold growing on tobacco.
Right, thanks. I might have to try and make my own blend someday. I still wouldn't really know where to start, but I guess the proof is in the pudding and just giving it a shot.
Well, I got into it pretty much by accident. I was sitting in my backyard smoking Butera Pelican, which is good, but it's not great. But I really liked flavor of Oriental tobaccos in that blend. I had some granulated Tariq. I added it to Pelican, and I liked the result better than original. Then I gave it to Chris McGrath to try. He liked it, and that's how we came up with the idea for the blend.
Nice. Cool. Okay. Thank you, Dmitry. Anyone else want to share how they got into pipe smoking?
Well, once upon a time, a little over 50 years ago, I just decided that I wanted to become a pipe smoker. Both my parents were cigarette smokers, as were most of the folks in my extended family. I've never smoked a cigarette, well, other than to try some rather odd Indian type cigarettes, beaties, and what have you. But I was in high school, decided to try it. I started out with a cob and enjoyed it, and went and got some Savinelli seconds at a local pipe store. Got really serious about it and went in and decided to get a really expensive pipe at that time, a Savinelli autograph. And when I did that, the store personnel there said, "You must really like pipes." And I said, "Well, yeah. How would you like to work here?" So I ended up managing that brick and mortar pipe store for a while I was in college, and that gave me the wonderful opportunity to try everything that was out in tins, everything that we were blending in the store, and to look at all the pipes that were coming in as we received shipments from the home office, as it were. This was a chain called the Pipe Den back in the 70s. And so that got me started, and in the ensuing 50 years, I've enjoyed it, a great deal of solace and fellowship, and that's kind of how I got started. But nobody else in my family, I thought, smoked pipes until I stumbled upon a picture of my grandfather in the early 1910s, 20s, smoking a Peterson. So maybe I come by it naturally, I don't know.
That's a really cool story. And since you worked in a pipe shop I mean, I don't know what it was like back then, but I always tell people that I feel so young to be a pipe smoker. Not that I'm that young, but you know, it's considered something that men with a certain age and wisdom do. Let's put it like that. Let's try and keep it nice, you know. But you were obviously very young when you were managing the shop. Was that not weird, or was it then back then just a young man's game more so than now?
Oh, I would not say that it was necessarily a young man's game. Some of the shops, and I used to float around because there were a number of more shops in the, by the way, I'm in the Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, Twin City area, although I'm just across the border in Wisconsin, out in the sticks here. But most of the folks who worked and managed in those shops were older. There were some legendary characters around here who were very good at mentoring younger guys, willing to share, willing to talk about it. So it was a little bit odd, but I had all ages because in the shop where I worked, where we also sold cigarettes, we got a varied clientele. I had a gentleman working for me who was a retired house painter, and we would talk at great length. And he was making pipes at the time, kind of on his own. In a number of years later, I'm a maker now, and I'm retired, but I make pipes. And so it's been an evolution for me, but it was never strictly a young man's or an older man's game, although it was a little bit unlikely to see a younger guy doing that sort of thing. When I was on the college campus, we saw people of all ages walking around smoking their pipes. So I don't know what to say, except that was my experience.
Well, this is a very comprehensive answer. Thanks. I appreciate that. And you said you're making pipes? Sorry, go on, Dimitri.
Well, in old days, actually, it was pretty common for young people to smoke pipes, especially among university students. And when smoking was allowed pretty much anyway, it was like in the lecture hall, professor during the lectures puffing on his pipes and the students sitting there with their pipes.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you can imagine sitting in an English class at university and seeing some guy who's, probably had a little bit more than he ought to drink with a cigarette hanging off his lips, trying to teach you about Robert Frost, you kind of get the idea.
Yeah, it's for me, it's almost hard to imagine that there was a time you could smoke in class. I don't. It's almost.
Only back then, professors would usually smoke more expensive pipe, and students would smoke something cheaper, inexpensive, simple pipe.
Oh, it was on campus.
And you said
I saw my first Danish pipe. The guy was walking by smoking what was obviously a Prevan home, and that's the first time I'd ever seen one. So it was an educational experience for me.
And you said that you make pipes too, right?
I do. I've been doing woodwork for years and years and years, and lathe work, things like that, and decided that I would make a few for myself, and I have. And I suppose 7-8 years ago, I got a little bit more serious about the hobby. And so my local pipe club, of which I currently have the honor of being the president, actually, have been very kind to me in terms of buying some of those pipes, smoking them, getting the word out. So yeah, and I've begun to refurbish and repair as well. So it's been a wonderful lifetime hobby.
And is there anywhere our members could have a look to see what you're making, or is this like, let's say, on a more private scale?
I had a website which I need to sort of get back up there, which has a gallery, but it's not currently cooking. You might be able to find me on Instagram. Every once in a while I'll post and I'll have something up on there. Who knows? Maybe I'll get one finished here and hold one up at a virtual meeting.
Exactly. I'd love to see that. That would be great. Well, thanks for sharing. I appreciate that. It's a very interesting story. Thanks. Anyone else that like to speak about them getting into the pipe hobby?
I just switched to some 2017 Frogmorton on a log in the Stanwell apple.
Nice. You saw Dimitri and you thought this man has a good point, Frogmorton.
Yep.
I think I like the craftsmanship of pipes more than the actual smoking of a pipe. I really love the different shapes, the materials, and just really like holding it in my hand.
Yeah, I kind of have the same thing, to be honest. as I said, and like Dimitri, I'm by nature a cigar smoker, and I don't know. Honestly, I don't even know why I picked up a pipe. If I think about it real careful, I think it just, like you said, it's the artistry behind it that kind of interested me, like the finesse that goes into making something like that, and uh, honestly, the classiness that it shows. I really appreciate how some fine gentlemen walk around in their well-tailored clothes, smoking a pipe, and I think this is a smart man. You can tell, you know. And I have the same thing, like the artistry that goes into a pipe and how it's made, and maybe even like the one that Terry made for me. I'm pretty sure I will form quite a personal relationship with this pipe. It's more than just a tool, which makes it very interesting, very unique in the way we enjoy it. It almost has like a personality.
Well, I also find it's a different experience smoking cigar and smoking pipe. And also there are different variety of tobacco plants used for cigar tobacco and for pipe tobacco. For cigar tobacco, so-called dark tobacco, most of which originates in Cuba. For pipe tobacco, light tobaccos, which basics are Virginia, Burley, Oriental, and everything else made from those tobaccos, like Cavendish made either from Burley or from Virginia, Latakia made from Oriental tobaccos, Perique made from Burley. So that's basically just three basic types of light tobacco, which used for pipes and also for cigarettes.
I don't know if anybody else saw the video, but Cornell and Deal, Jeremy Reeves, he just posted a video on Black Cavendish, and he also mentioned a Cavendish from the Dominican Republic, made from leftover cigar leaves. I'm gonna have to give that a try real soon.
Yeah, and actually there are a lot of pipe blends which use cigar tobacco. I have my own blend using cigar leaf. Like I have it here, like this one, Shahnameh, I made using Moldovan semi-oriental tobacco, Turkish Samsun, Turkish Izmir, and Indonesian Sumatra. And the Indonesian Sumatra, that's cigar tobacco.
Very nice.
I haven't really found my favorite pipe tobacco yet. Like with cigars, maybe you can help me with this, Dimitri. Like you, I am really a Cuban smoker. I like the lightness and the creaminess of a good Cuban cigar, and I especially enjoy like the Hoyo Epicure Deluxe #2, something like Monte Cristo Open Eagle Open Master, like really the lighter stuff. And I said earlier that I do enjoy a D4 or a D6 once in a while, which is a lot stronger. But usually I like the creamy, soft stuff. Could you recommend me something, Dimitri, that you think I might enjoy putting in my pipe?
Well, I would say some Virginia blends, Virginia Perique, some Oriental. If you'll be able to get a tin of old McClelland Grand Oriental series, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Also, well, HU tobaccos, German HU tobaccos, they have some amazing Virginia flakes. So I strongly recommend you to try those.
I'll give it a shot, man. Thanks.
I have two recommendations from Lane Tobacco. One is HGL, which stood for Herman G. Lane. It was his favorite tobacco. Has Latakia or Latakia is the base, and then some aromatics in it as well. It's kind of a crossover blend, but it's got that smoky background flavor. It's very good. It's not harsh at all.
Doesn't McBaron have a Kentucky Dark Fire that's a lot like cigar tobacco?
I think the Kentuckys for me are a little strong. I like 'em.
Kentucky Dark Fired, it's not really cigar tobacco, it's pipe tobacco, it's dark fired burley. It's somewhat similar to Latakia, but main difference, Latakia starts as oriental tobacco and cured over smoke of a certain type of woods, including some pines. And now it comes only from Cyprus. And Kentucky, they make fire of mostly American dark wood, like maple, oak, hickory, and there are different varieties. There is also a cigar made using dark fired Kentucky. That's Italian cigars called Toscano. Those are thin, dry cigars, cheroots. And actually, back in 19th century, most cigars smoked in the United States were cheroots. And how Toscano started. In early 19th century, some Italian guys managed to steal some Kentucky burley seeds from the United States, planted it in Italy, in Tuscany. And after they harvested, when they were drying it, it was raining almost nonstop for a week. All tobacco got wet. They tried to dry it in the sun. It started fermenting. Smell was horrible. They tried to speed up the drying by building the fires. They managed to dry the tobacco. They had option to throw it away, but Grand Duke of Tuscany wouldn't be happy about it. So they decided, let's try to still roll it into cigar. And that's how it started. First cigars were made in 1815, but they started to make them commercially in 1818. So officially, Toscano cigars started in 1818, over 200 years ago. And that's older than pretty much any premium cigar you can find in the world.
So it's of course the variety of tobacco, but it's also the way the tobacco is treated and processed. And unfortunately, what's sprayed on it, added to it, and flavored before you get the final product. Cigars tending more towards the more natural leaf, as opposed to some pipe tobaccos, which almost don't even taste like tobacco anymore.
Yeah, that's why I smoke only non-aromatic. I like tobacco flavored tobacco. And by the way, now Toscano, they use tobacco that's burley grown both in Italy and in the United States. And each one, just because of a slightly different curing process, different using different woods for the fires, they have slightly different flavor. And by adjusting the proportions of American and Italian leaf, they managed to make different varieties of Toscano cigars. Some are stronger. The strongest one is extra vecchio with a well-aged tobacco, and it actually has, in the flavor, it's like hint of Perique. It's just from the aging and extra fermentation of the tobacco. The lightest one is Garibaldi, but if you like burley or dark fired Kentucky in general, and if you're not opposed to cigar smoking, you should try Toscano cigars.
Oh, well, man, thanks. Glenn, it kind of makes me wonder, because I didn't even realize you sneaked in yet. How did you start smoking? Because I think you've been smoking for a while, right?
55 years.
There we go.
I started when I was in college, never smoked cigarettes. And I asked my dad when I went to college, I said, do you think I could smoke a pipe? And he said, sure. In fact, I have my father's pipe. So my grandfather had it was a Whitehall billiard. And my dad had it in a closet somewhere. He gave it to me and I took that to college with me. I still have it. I smoked it a couple days ago. And I met a few fellows at college who were pipe smokers, and they directed me to a pipe store in the university area called Dinkytown that had a famous pipe shop that could blend tobaccos. And one of my friends gave me, they had little 3x5 cards with the formulas on them. And he gave me his card and said, I think you'll like this. And the first ingredient was Latakia and Virginia and a few other things. I'd never tried that. I'd smoked Sale and all the over-the-counter blends, London Dock. I just recovered a little 2-ounce tin of London Dock from the 70s. And I remember smoking that in a packet. And the first pipe I purchased after my grandfather's was a Kamoy second that was sold at a store in downtown Minneapolis. It was a nice bent billiard, nice pipe. I still have that one too. It smokes great. It's got to be 75 years old now.
You must take good care of your pipes. I mean, if you still have your father's pipe, that probably has seen quite a few bowls.
Yeah. And I have some older than that. So, in fact, some of my restored pipes are from the 20s and 30s. So
it's really cool.
This is my latest effort. It's the brand is Mastercraft. It has a silver band and nice Canadian, one of my favorite shapes, and almost like a corncob rustication. There.
That's really nice, Glenn.
And the shank is rusticated in the same way, and turned out pretty well.
It did.
I've got probably
That's
12 or 15
pipe.
Canadians. I think it's my favorite shape.
Why do you like it so much? Is it just the aesthetic, or does it smoke like a particular way for you?
I think it's a heavy accent on the aesthetic because I really don't sense that much difference. I have a couple of church wardens that are about 1 foot long, and I mean, I love smoking them, but they really don't seem to smoke that much better than some of my billiards. So it's just, I like the look of the Canadians.
Fair enough. Well, I'm glad you're here, and that was a really nice story. I appreciate you sharing that with us. See, we also have John Trophy in. I haven't heard from you yet. I don't know if
Hi,
John
guys.
is in the opportunity.
I'm here, but I'm actually riding my boat, so I'm not going to be able to talk. I'm just kind of listening, but I'm enjoying your talks.
Fair enough. Thanks, John. Be safe on the water. And we've got another regular. I see that Abdul's also here. Maybe you can show us your latest creation. You sent me a couple of pictures, and I did enjoy it. So don't know if it's sold already. Even maybe it is. Let's see. Abdul, can you hear me? All right, I can see you looking at the screen, but there we go. Yeah. I think we don't have. There we go. Can you show us your latest creation?
Not good.
I know.
I'm speaking English not good.
Fair enough. Yeah, he sent me a couple of pictures of the latest pipe he made, and I don't know if he shared it already in the group, but I can really recommend you have a look at this. Just really, really nicely made. I enjoy your work, man. Good stuff.
This is my pipe of the day. It's a Tom Howard, made in the 40s. It's American carver. He was a radio personality that smoked pipes and decided to make some of his own. I purchased this about 5 or 6 years ago. And I'm smoking one of my custom blends, which is Cult Blood Red Moon mixed with Latakia.
This is due to your friend giving you his mixing cards, your love for Latakia.
Ngomong bahasa Inggris. Tinggal lagi duit.
Well, cool.
I didn't realize at the time.
Nyampe jam hiji doang.
Hold on. Let me mute Abdul. There we go. Go on, Glenn. What were you saying? Sorry.
Interestingly, I just discovered recently that London Dock, which is a over-the-counter drugstore style blend, here's the way they sold it in these little tins, and you could also get it in a pouch, but it contains all the same ingredients as the standard English tobaccos. It's a Latakia, Virginia, Burley, Perique mix with what they report as a rum topping. I don't get rum. I would have never thought rum, but it has a very unique taste. And this is reconstituted from the 1970s, and it smokes great.
Wow. I usually have that too with like the rum toppings. I think a McBaron Navy Flake, which is supposedly also rum topped, or at least I think so. You can't really get that rum topping either. It's definitely sweeter than other tobaccos, but I wouldn't say it's rum. And I think I've drank enough rum to know when I get it, you know?
Yeah, well, rum topping on tobacco became popular mostly among sailors, and they didn't use it as much for flavor as to preserve tobacco. Again, with a high alcohol content in rum, it prevents from mold growing on tobacco, and at sea, when it's pretty humid, mold was a very common problem. And well, also rum, they were drinking rum because drinking water wasn't safe, especially, well, they had to stock up on water for a few months at a time, and water would get stale and infested with all kind of bacteria. So they were not drinking water, they were drinking grog, which is half water, half rum. And the rum would kill all bacteria in that water.
If you think about it, in the Navy in England, they serve rum, I think, and I'm not quite sure about the year, but I think up to 1997, 1979, sorry. I need to think about my numbers. In Dutch, they work the other way around. So can you imagine that, like, guys working on machines, marine ships, like in engine rooms and stuff like that, drinking up to 2 glasses of rum a day, which was just a ration by the army itself, by the Navy itself.
Being constantly drunk, it was normal condition for them.
Exactly. And this started back in the time when they used grog because they couldn't just bring bare water simply because it would go rancid over time. And yeah, I think back then they got like a pint of rum a day. It's incredible how much they were drinking, these guys. It's actually also one of the
that much.
It may be a funny story to share. There's actually an English Navy style rum called Nelson's Blood, and this was named after Admiral Nelson. And the story is that when this guy got shot, a very, very famous admiral who got shot at the Battle of Trafalgar, they actually put his body in one of the casks of rum to preserve it back to land, but secretly they kept sipping that barrel, and that's where the name Nelson's Blood comes from.
That's good.
Glenn, I saw you holding up the plum cake. Was this because it's the rum topped one?
I don't know how old this is, but it was imported it's made in Denmark and imported by Swisher, which I believe has been out of business for a decade or more. So this is definitely an old tin, and it's absolutely delicious.
I think they still make it, right? The plum cake. I think McBaron makes a plum cake.
Mm-hmm.
Any good?
Delicious.
I'll give it a shot. It's a shame, like all the Cornelian Deal and all the lanes that you can't get them in Europe. So I always hear people very enthusiastically talking, especially about Lane and Cornelian Deal, and there's just no way I can try it. It's really sad when I hear all your great stories about the quality of tobacco they make, but the plum cake I can get, so I will give that a shot. Okay.
I think it makes sense to. I think it makes sense for us to, as pipe smokers, to keep trying all those new blends, and you'll light on something that you enjoy. But you know, hearing older pipe smokers like me talk about it and talk about the good old days and the things that you can't get anymore, well, you know, it is kind of sad. But then on the other hand, there are a lot of blenders out there who are trying to do great things, and it does boil down for me to the quality of the tobacco, aromatic versus non-aromatic, how they treat it. I heard somebody talking about Sobrani Black, or what I know is 759. And we were hot stuff back in college days when we were smoking that stuff on a daily basis. And now you can't touch a tin for, I don't know, $600 and up if you can find it. But what you got to do is just find something that you like, however you can get your hands on it, and keep puffing away.
Exactly. You don't know if you like it or not unless you try it. And there is nothing wrong with the new. And there are some great tobacco blenders, and there are some excellent new blends. So just try something different. If you don't like it, you don't smoke it again. And if you like it, it might become one of your regular blends.
Yeah, and to that point, I wouldn't feel bad about some of the stuff that's gone or some of the stuff that you can't find anymore. We have a wonderfully active club in my area, and you know, full truth and disclosure, Glenn and I are friends, and we met up last Thursday at a local pipe shop. We have some folks in the club who motorcycle. We have some folks in the club who have made it a point to go out and find some really old and really amazing tobaccos, and we had the opportunity to smoke some my mixture from the 1920s. It was incredible. It was, you know, it was an old cutter tin, and we opened it up and smoked it. And you know, while it was wonderful, I've also smoked some wonderful modern stuff. So you know, it's all good.
Yeah, like these days, Greg Peace, Rasuleta, amazing tobacco blenders. They make really high quality new blends. Scandinavian Tobacco Group, which is Lane Limited, Stockabee, they have some excellent tobaccos, and they always come up with something new.
Yeah, in my opinion, Pease has got some blends out there who are already, you know, they're already kind of modern classics, and will continue to be some amazing stuff. Raven's Wing comes to mind.
Yeah, and I guess you're right. I mean, I've got a little gift from somebody, which is a sample of Red Trace Summer Edition, and he noted down what it has in it, and it makes no sense to me. Gold kiwi, nashi pear, cornflower blossom. That's like the things in there except tobacco. And I just smoked a bowl of this stuff, and it's actually really nice. It really has like a fruity undertone to it, and I don't think it's cased with anything. I think that's just the blossom of these flowers that they added, and it's quite unique. I don't know, did anybody try that, the Red Race Summer Edition of this year? Or any other like tobaccos that have like these wild things like blossom and flowers added to them? Do you enjoy that kind of stuff?
I think Rattray had another tobacco earlier on this year. It's something like Orange Passion or something like that. There was some Rattrays with orange in it.
I have smoked that one. It's very good.
Yeah, these days for quality tobacco, I strongly recommend HU, which is German company. Those tobaccos are very difficult to find in the United States. In Europe, it's probably easier because they're based in Germany, and they make absolutely amazing stuff. Like Director's Cut is one of the best English tobaccos I ever tried, and they have some amazing Virginia flakes. So if you have chance to try HU, go for it, try it.
What's the brand called, Dimitri? Like the maker?
HU.
HU. Okay.
Yeah, that's a German company. And thing is, most of the well, a majority of Virginia tobaccos, like made by Lane or anybody else, majority of Virginias come from Africa and the United States. Majority of Virginias for HU come from India and Philippines.
I think we lost Bart.
No. I was gonna say. I think I'll give that a shot. Yeah, I'm in my shop, and I can tell you that internet is not brilliant here. Like usually I don't need it when I'm working, so it's a bit spotty down here. But luckily it still does work. So since we're in rather a small group and you guys got the 4th of July coming on, which as I understood, I mean, I know what it means. It's the independence of the Great British Empire, you signing the independence from the Great British Empire, which I'd like to congratulate you guys from, even from Europe. I think you did good. And as I understood it, this is a day where let's say having a drink with friends and a barbecue and stuff like that is very common. So I don't want to keep you too long because we are heading towards the late afternoon over there, and I'm sure you will have friends or guests or family over to have something to eat and have a drink. So I really want to wind it down slowly, as David would say. So I don't know if there's anything else you guys would quickly like to share or discuss before we slowly start wrapping this up.
Interestingly, we're celebrating the banning of the British from America. Now, 244 years later, the EU is banning Americans. So it's come full cycle.
Yeah. Back in 18th century, rich people in the colonies decided they don't want to pay taxes anymore, and they still don't pay them.
Okay, so anything else we want to talk about, guys? Otherwise, we'll end it here and wish you a very nice 4th of July and let you get on with the celebration of this special day.
Just want to say, Bart, thank you for hosting and moderating. You did a great job. Had some great questions for us to work off of.
I appreciate that. Thank you a lot.
Very good.
Yep.
Maybe
Sharing with
one
friends
last.
is one of the best things.
Sorry, Glenn.
Sharing the holiday with friends is the best thing.
Agreed. Maybe I'll share one more thing with you guys, just to be a bit egocentrical about this. I forged some pipe tools which I want to show you guys, because as you know, I'm still open for any suggestions for trades. I don't need to sell these, also because they're not worth very much, I'll be honest. But I did quickly want to show you. This is another tamper I made for a customer who requested that I make like a little hook-shaped scraper on the end. So I did that for him. So you can actually ream your bowl with this end, and it works. And the other end is just like the other ones. But what I especially liked, and he made these designs, so I'm not claiming any points for this. And I made him like a spoon. I just wanted to show you.
Okay.
That I thought it was really nicely finished with a tamper on the other end. And actually the tamper is an upset end. So the original size of the material is underneath it. So that's the square stock that I used and then upset it. So anybody has any suggestions for pipe tools they want forged, I'll gladly give it a shot. If you don't like it, you don't need to have it. I can just recycle the material. And I'm open to all trades for the Virtual Pipe Club for any forged pipe stuff you can think about, stands, anything. Just send me a design. I've got some time in the forge in the next couple of weeks to experiment with stuff. So if you have any interesting ideas, let me know. And again, this is not for commercial gain or anything. It's just to get your thoughts on maybe making some new pipe tools, because this is obviously quite logical to make, but I'm trying to think a little bit more out of the box. So if people have suggestions, let me know, hit me up.
Really great job, Bart. Nice tampers.
Thanks.
I got to run, guys. Wife's calling me. We got to go somewhere. So have a nice 4th, everybody.
Yeah.
Good job, Bart.
On that note, thanks. On that note, I think we'll end it here as well, guys, and let everybody get back to their families. Thanks a lot for joining me this week, and see you next week in our next virtual Pipe Club. And have a great 4th of July.
See you next week.